Okay, first step in winterizing the pool is get the level of water below the skimmer. It doesn't matter how much, but the easy way that you'll be doing that, after I get this all repaired and put back together, this pipe will be coming down, and on the bottom you'll notice there's a plug. Undo that plug. Let the water go until it stops coming out of there. It might be a good idea to figure out how to thread a garden hose adapter onto there or something like that, but the water's going to be pouring out on you. But yes, you do need to lower the level of the pool that much in order to make sure, and don't let it blast the ground underneath. Have something like a bucket or something to kind of divert it, otherwise it could dig a hole and undermine the edge of the pool. So you know, put a pan or something under for the water to flow into first, and leave that drain plug off. So there's the first step. Your second major step after draining the water down just a little bit is going to be to pull this hose off of this valve right here. This is the outflow from the filter, goes through and into here, and this literally that unscrews. That's not tight as it needs to be. You need to make sure it's not leaking, so pipe tape on the threads obviously. So you're going to screw this fitting into the top of this, and this right here will allow you to hook your compressor. You need an air compressor to prepare this correctly. Get your compressor on, get ready to put some pressure to it, and you know, click it down in, make sure this is tight. Start to build some pressure on the hose. You can clip your hose onto the other end of this fitting, and what you're going to do is you're then going to open this valve like that, and you're going to allow the air pressure to go down here and through here, and you actually want it to push air. In fact, actually the first thing to do, leave this shut, let it build some pressure, and actually open this valve after you know that the pressure is up. And we're actually going to be pushing the water down. Then go over here to the pool, and I am not sure if it's that center drain that is connected to, or there's an eyeball over there near the garage door. When you see bubbles coming out of that, and like I said, I don't know which one it is we're trying to get, that's when, whichever one's bubbling, shut this valve off at that point, and you will have pushed air down into that pipe. Whether or not it stays there, I don't know, but at least it'll keep the valve from having water in it and freezing. So once you've shut that, your pressure is still on all here. You're then going to move to the next part, which involves this vent right here, which goes up, and that's a jet. And this right here is a water inlet to the pool right there. Normally this will be screwed into that inlet right here. Now this comes apart in pieces, and you can grab the ring even with a wrench, but you may very well have it come apart on you. Let me show you how that happens. Okay, so this ring threads onto that piece. The ball is trapped in between them, like so. And if that does come apart on you like that, inside the box of tools for the pool, you'll find this wrench. Notice there's two slots down there inside that fitting. This engages them, and probably maybe for pliers or something you can unscrew that. So you want that as much as possible. You know, you want to get this out, you want to save everything so you don't lose it, and then you're going to also go into your pool box, and you're going to get one of these. You're going to wrap Teflon tape around the threads, and now you're going to crack. You can still have your air pressure on here with your compressor. You're now going to crack this valve and start blowing all this water out, and you're going to wait until you see a good solid amount of bubbles coming out of here, and then you're going to screw this down while it's bubbling. This should keep as much water as possible out. Now this may not end up being entirely waterproof, but we have a solution for that as well, so we don't end up with shattered pipes like we did before. And that is down here on this same pipe where it comes out, down on the bottom is a plug. You can unscrew that with it's right here inside of this thimble is a plug. Unscrew that plug, and now you'll have air pressure rushing out of there, but you've already capped it up here. And if any water does come past the cap that you put in here, it will just come down and drip out the bottom, and it won't allow it to puddle in here, to freeze, to shatter or anything. That's why we're doing it that way. Save that plug in your tub as well, and we'll go on to the next step. And remember how I mentioned about possible bubbles coming out over there? I'm pretty sure that valve goes over there. So same thing I showed you here with unscrewing the eyeball and putting a cap in, that's what you need to do over there as well, to save the pipe. It's amazing it didn't shatter through this past winter, but otherwise that has water in it, and if it shattered, you'd have an amazing flood. Thank the Lord that did not shatter. It would have drained most of the pool, and you would have had a skating rink outside the garage. So once again, try and get as much air pressure trapped inside of here as possible. Unscrew the eyeball. This is one you're going to have to dive a little to do, or probably wear a snorkel mask or something, and try and get that capped off as well. I'm amazed that did not break. Thank you, Lord. Okay, the next important step to do is going to be the draining of the pump itself, which there is a drain valve or a drain cap right here on the bottom of the filter. Unscrew that, and all the water inside this filter will drain out. Put the handle, so you push it down and you can turn it, put the handle in winter right there. I don't know what that does exactly, but I think it opens all the ports and just allows everything to drain out. And then go over here to the pump assembly, and right here on the front, take that out. We want to leave that out for the whole winter. Now there will be a lot, make sure you get your drain valves closed. Okay, now remember this part will be screwed into the bottom of that. Put that plug back in the bottom there and make sure it's fairly tight, and take this assembly off of here, your air pressure one, and you can actually screw it in to the pipe from the top, and that's what we need to do. Get that screwed in fairly, airtight enough to build pressure inside of there and blow water. And remember, once again, we're working with all of our valves shut. So the drain plug here will be off, so this will be open. So what you're going to do then is you're going to leave this valve shut. You're going to open this valve and let air pressure build through this section. You're going to open this valve right here, and with that drain right there, you're going to blow air through here, air pressure, until you just hear the air just shooting out of there and there's no more water coming out of that hole. This could come out with some pretty good force, so make sure you're aware of that and taking care of it. But it shouldn't hurt anything. It'll just blast out on the driveway. Once that is all air, no more water, go ahead and shut the red valve. Leave this valve open. You still have air pressure on there. And then go down here and open this valve. This goes to the bottom drain on the pool. And when you see bubbles just shooting up out of that drain right there in the middle, shut that valve. You've now pushed as much air down in there as we can, and hopefully the water won't come back in there. And then remove the fitting from here so we don't end up with another destroyed skimmer assembly like we have right now. And go back to the tailpipe piece under here and remove that drain plug and leave that open for the winter, so that any water It builds up in the pool, runs out, drips here, and just runs on the ground. And of course, unplug the pump, and then this plug out here, unless maybe you need it for something with your vehicle, inside here in the corner of the ground, that yellow cord right there, unplug that, and that outlet will not be connected anymore, and you won't have any issues. And hopefully the pool will make it through the winter. Obviously, put the winter cover on, tighten the wire down around the outside edge, and this right here, these are slow dissolving winterizing tablets. You're gonna have to find some of these. Remind me, I'll order some for you. Put them in this container. It has some holes drilled in the sides there, and just leave this sitting in the pool to keep the water good and taken care of through the winter. And if the water level is below the skimmer, and it doesn't matter if it overflows because it will just run out on the ground, we should be good. So this is what we're hoping, so that this pool will be usable for years to come. And one more thing, last thing before you're all set with everything, is remove this fitting. You know, don't leave this fitting on for the winter. Don't leave this open so that water can get in. Just screw this on. Doesn't even have to be tight. It just has to be there to keep any water from building up inside this valve and freezing and destroying this part of the PVC. So this here is the winter cover for the pool. It has this wire assembly with a little ratchet to secure it. So you pull that tight, you twist this, it has a little cog, it catches and tightens it down. That's the winter cover. You take it off for summer. In the summertime, this all has to be unscrewed and taken off. You're going to put the screws and these stands in the box with all the plugs and stuff. You're going to wrap up the solar cover, and you're going to make sure it's tight. I don't know, a couple straps around it or something, and you go right through, and it will fit into that crawl space door, just like it was made to go there. So you'll have it in there. Probably takes 2 people to carry it. This ladder also has to come out for the winter. It has these 2 screws. These also need to go back in the box of pool parts for the winter. And they screw down here, and I believe they are screwing right here into the stone. It's the type of screw that is meant to do that. And of course, you know, to secure the ladder so that little kids don't climb into it, it needs to be up like that. And really, we should have a bungee cord or something so the wind even can't blow it down. But that's the summer setup right there. Anytime you want to use the pool, just simply turn that crank handle over there, and you will crank the solar cover up off the pool. It'll still be across the pool. It's not the end of the world. You can live with it. Your head shouldn't be up that high anyways unless you're standing, and then you'll just have to look out for it. Or if you have a couple people, it just simply lifts out of those 2 cones.